I'm doing this for the first time, if I can get this right. Um, Coming to you live from like multiple, uh, well, going live, excuse me, on multiple platforms. Okay, so I'm hoping that I can be heard. Really hoping I can be heard. Okay, so I'm Yadira. Yadira moves you. I am. I'm going to talk about some heavy something today. It's going to be heavy. I'm going to start with first off, can you let me know if you can hear me on Instagram? Can you just like, I don't know if you can shoot something at me or let me know that you can hear me okay, just real quick, because I'm trying this with this earbud in and I'm still on other ones. I'd appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to start this off with someone had posted this question. I saw it, they posted it this morning on their feed, and I really hope I can be heard. Okay, the question is, who is your go-to person when you feel like your world is falling apart? Um, yeah, that's really important, right? So you don't think about it, but you kind of like need to. I needed to preface this live with that because I have been dealing with a lot. Um, Last year did not end well for me at all. It was a very difficult time for me. So I turned 50 last year. And when I received a call, it was a very like hard phone call that I received. And it was about my dad. And how do I put this? When I got the call, my dad had been in the hospital for a while. He was sick and he one thing led to another and he was sick again and sick again. So when I'm saying some things, I don't mean to come off vague. I need to make sure I explain this part. Another preface. Um, when all of this was happening in the very beginning, um, I have three older brothers. Okay. I was the one receiving the information. So I just need you to understand why was so difficult for me. So I received a call because I was in regular communication with my father, and I received a call stating that he was like in the hospital, had been there for a little bit. And I was like, well, I literally had just talked to him like set amount of time. And he wasn't doing well and he needed me to get a hold of my brothers. I'm not going to bring them up a lot. I'm going to try my hardest not to. So anyways, I did that. I'm not in regular communication. 2 out of 3 of my brothers have chosen a cousin of mine to call their sister and not me. So that is why it's going to be very limited on mentioning anything about them. But I did my job. I passed along a message stating that my father was very ill and to let me know if they wanted to be in contact with him, and I would do what I could. And for them to understand that once the message was relayed and everything was addressed, then we could go about our lives as we had been going all these years with like zero communication. And I was fine with that. So I continued to be in touch with the hospital. I continued to talk to my dad. It was getting more and more difficult because um, he had a lot of health issues from before. And these health issues, like he was doing okay. He ended up like he had a heart attack, a quadruple bypass, and then he ended up with a pacemaker. Um, he had just had that surgery. Well, he was in the hospital, couldn't get better. Then he ended up with COVID. He contracted COVID in the hospital. I need to make sure you also understand that my father was many miles and waterways away from me. He was in Puerto Rico at this time. So he's at the Veterans Hospital because he served 21 years in the Army, 21 years. So we were blessed as a family to be able to travel, right? I'll get back to that in a moment. So after the hospital stay, time progressed. and he was not doing well. He had contracted COVID, was in the ICU for an extended period of time, and it was a lot. It was very, very hard because at this point I could not communicate with him now. I was unable to call his phone because he could not answer his phone. He could barely hold his phone, and they did not answer his phone. His phone was locked, so it was very hard. He didn't even have his, they had it locked away for a period of time anyways. So when he got out of the ICU, oh, I was so happy. He was able to talk to me. Um, oh, he was so lucid. It was amazing. It was so wonderful to be able to hear his voice and to be able to talk and share things. And a week goes by, and my father's health started to diminish. So much so that he was not eating as well as he should have been. He had no appetite. He and I talked, and I kept asking, "Are you in pain? Like, is there anything?" And with doing that, I also was like, I just want to thank you. I took the time to thank him. I took the time to let him know that I loved him. And I, all that kept going through my mind was that, like, we're all human. Everybody makes mistakes, right? So I wanted to make sure he understood that I understood that he had to make choices in his life. So I made sure I let him know that I love him. I told him, like I said, thank you over and over again. And time progressed. I think a week went by because I kept trying to get a hold of him at the hospital. It was so hard to get a hold of him at the hospital because they would call. And being that I was calling the island, it was just like so much. Like it would ring and then the connection was bad trying to get in through the operator. And then I had to get like one person to the nurse's station, to the next floor, to, okay, so they moved him from ICU. They convinced him to go to hospice because I was like, if he doesn't want to go to hospice, you need to call me and let me know so I can talk to him. Because I told him, I was like, I am so happy that you're not in pain, but your body is trying to tell you something. And I need you to not fight your body. I need you to listen to your body and you will be okay. And I promise you that. And in November, I think it was, let me give me a second, the 18th in November, I felt this heavy weight. I don't know if any of you've ever experienced it where you have this like overwhelming just like feeling and it is just weighs on you and you can't process the thought and you wonder where it's coming from and it just seems so, it's like you're aware, right? But it's heavy and you can't process a whole bunch of stuff. And then I was like, wait a second, maybe it's my parents. Now, I'm gonna jump over to my mom. My parents been divorced for what, 30 years. They had a tragic ending. It was what it was. And they're still my parents. Love them both. Well, they didn't communicate. I let each of them know the other person's situation. My mom has cancer. My dad's in the hospital, dying. And we're scheduling her surgery. But it wasn't her first surgery because 4.5 years before that, she had had a major surgery. They went in, did orthoscopic, and he told us, if we don't like the color, the surgeon said, if I don't like the color, I'm going in. And he did. They cut her from her sternum to her pubic bone, all the way down, opened her up, pulled out her organs, and they had to resection her intestine and they got all of the cancer. Before they operated on my mom, 11 years prior to that, a lady had gone in and operated on my mom and took out what she said was a fatty mass. Now, I want you guys to listen to this part. This is what's crazy. She never told her anything about following up. She didn't say it could potentially be this. Let's test it for that. Nothing. We didn't know. We were just told it was a fatty mass. I was young. Okay. I'm still processing all the stuff that happened to me. So lo and behold, when they told me that it was a mass, like this second, like the second surgery, right? This is at the 11-year later mark. I was like trying to find this doctor. I wanted to know where she was at. I wanted to know why she didn't tell us what it was that my mom had. Like, I needed to know. All this time, I hadn't really heard anything about my dad. Yeah, all that time, health wise. I guess towards the closer to the end of those 11 years, that's when he'd had the heart attack. So, anyways, it was hard. We can talk about my mom's surgery at a totally separate time. It was hard though. So now, again, the 4.5 years go by, which is just last year now, 2022, and they find tumors on her organs, individual ones. So this weighted feeling, I was just like, what is it? Like, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? Like, who do I call? So then I get a phone call. My mom was scheduled for surgery. I get a phone call from my mom, and she says they canceled her surgery. It's a life-saving procedure, and it's canceled because the tumor got too big. The one in her aorta. So I talked to her a little bit and hang up. And the only thing I could think to do was to call the hospital, the VA hospital in Puerto Rico. And so I do. And they tell me he's sleeping. So I said, okay. They're like, well, let's try and wake him. They tried for like really quickly. It was like not even a whole minute. They like tried to wake him. They're like, yeah, he's just not waking up. But then I explained to them what I was feeling and how my day had gone. And I told them about the call I just got about my mom's surgery. They did everything they could to wake my dad up. And they did. And they spent another half hour, like in the time that they're waking him up and got him to be like somewhat awake for a moment. They were fighting to connect with me on an iPad. And they finally were able to connect. We were good. And they put the iPad in front of him. And for 45 minutes, I talked to my dad. I sang to my dad. I thanked him again and again for everything, for all of his choices that led to where we are today as adults, because I think that a lot of us forget that the positions that we're in were previous, like our parents decided on stuff. Like, I need to be thankful for the experience of growing up overseas and being able to travel, and the parents that I had that can both cook. My dad was a chef. My gosh, he could turn a freaking potato into a swan, and I'm not lying to you, 2 minutes. He also could replace the roof. I helped him when I was little. I helped him do the roof. He could work on cars. He could build trusses all by himself and was hoisting them up. He made all things. Like, he's so freaking smart. I told him I finished, I took my CDL permit test. And when I walked out, I'd only missed one out of 3 tests. I only missed one. I called him and I was like, Papi, I need to talk to you. Can you talk for a minute? He was like, yes. So I tell him that I needed to thank him for being the father that he was. I'm the only girl. I just told you I have 3 older brothers, 12 years older than me, 6 years older than me, and 5 years older than me. You can only imagine. I thanked him for never, ever pushing me away, for never, ever making me go and play with dolls and go in the kitchen with your mom and just go find something to do. He never did any of that to me. I followed him around Heckinger's. If he grabbed a pamphlet, I grabbed a pamphlet. He's working on the cars. I was in there. If it was the car or the truck, I was there. I was watching. I was paying attention. Plumbing, he's in there. A friend of mine just did wood, where you scorch it with the torch, and then you seal it. My dad did that in the whole house. We had like drop ceilings, so he did it all across with the ceiling, and he did all kinds of crafted beautiful woodwork around the windows. And we had everything we had was from Germany. Everything. We had a knight's table. We had All of our furniture was especially made for us. We had two grandfather clocks. One was an anniversary piece that was made special for my parents. I mean, you have no idea, like yadros and crystals straight from the factory. Like, I can't imagine me not giving that to my children, but it is what it is, right? He never ever pushed me away. And the fact that I thanked him for that, I think he was a bit stunned because I was like, what it did was with his actions of allowing me to be present. And I paid attention to my mom too. I wasn't just like, following my dad around. Again, like I said, they both cook. Oh my gosh, amazing. But what that did for me in my life was allow me to never feel restricted. There was not the label of you're a female and this is all that you can do. It wasn't that way. And funny enough, I am married to a man who does not do that to me either. Sometimes I get feisty and I feel like it might be that, but it's not. um 45 minutes in November. The following Monday I wanted to call him. I let the weekend go by because it was getting hard to call and get a hold of them. And I didn't call on Monday. I waited. I was so tired. I was just so exhausted. I was been emotionally drained the whole weekend trying to figure out like what to do, what's going on with my mom. Like, what are we going to do? I have to schedule stuff now and figure out what we're going to do. We got to meet with the doctor. I got a call. He passed away in his sleep. People always say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. You know what I've been telling people? The very few people that I've told. It's okay. It's all right. He passed away in his sleep with no pain. And I had the opportunity to tell him I love him and to thank him. He's good. I told myself I was good. But nobody in the house had a connection with my dad the way that I did. My mom and him had been divorced for years, but they both felt sorry for like they both said that they felt bad that the other one was the other way, and I passed along those messages to each of them from each other. Very respectful, honorable. But you know what? Even with the help that I got from someone who I could call a stranger, because I did get help from someone I'd only met once, I have my dad here with me now because she was able to bring him to me from Puerto Rico. One of my husband's best friends, new girlfriend, happened to be vacationing in another week or two. She brought him back to me with a few things. I'd only wanted a few things. So, for anybody who knows what a guayabera is, my dad used to wear those. And I have one of his. Yeah. Um, you can tell yourself you're okay. You can have no one to talk to because no one will understand. And then you find yourself holding your eye open because it won't stay open. I'm literally sitting there and my eyes just all kinds of things were happening to me. But I keep saying I'm okay because I know that he passed peacefully. I know that. And I called the hospital and I asked if he passed alone, and they said no, that he did not. That they were there with him in the VA hospital in Puerto Rico. Amazing. Amazing. Now I had to take care of some legal things. That was not easy at all. I had to construct a letter, release his body. Not not easy. No one prepares you for this stuff, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, you got to be strong. You've got family. You've got this. You got." Everyone uses the freaking word strong. the heck? No, screw that. Strong? So I'm not supposed to show I have emotion, that I have feelings, that I was invested in a lifelong relationship, that without him, without my mom, I would not exist? Who am I being strong for? Am I putting on a facade? No. See, I decided I didn't want to use the word strong. I don't want to hear the word strong. I don't want to know about the word strong. It is capable. I am capable enough mentally to understand that this is something that happens in life. Life must end here. And the rest of your beliefs, they are what they are. I am not a religious person. I am not a religious person. So whenever you post about uh, anything religious or political, you're not going to see me commenting. You're not. I am a spiritual person, and I'm very respectful of everyone who has their beliefs. Do not push your beliefs on me. Anybody who I talk to about my dad or my mom, if you pray, please pray. Strong is not the right word. I'm not lifting a heavy box. I'm dealing with heavy weight on my body. I'm dealing with heavy weight on my mind. I want to pick up the phone and I want to call and I want to talk to him, but I know I can't. I know that I can't tell him I love him anymore, and I can't tell him thank you again. And I know that even with all of that, now I have to stop. I have to focus because I haven't been able to grieve because I'm helping my mom with her struggle, with her fight. Because, since it couldn't operate because the tumor is too big on one of her organs, because, it somehow decided to grow faster on her aorta than anywhere else. And, hey, thanks a lot, freaking sarcoma. Cancer that grows like a weed. There is nothing that stops it. So my mom had heard about Maryland proton therapy, laser therapy in Baltimore. And the doctor said, yeah, let's do it. I said, that's a good idea. Because they knew that we needed something alternative, but she was on it. So we just finished radiation. I have a lot of stuff going on in my mind. It's taken a toll on me physically. So much so, mind you, that I couldn't even drop my mom off at the building anymore and go park at the parking garage and make it without having like horrible chest pain and difficulty breathing. And I thought, oh, I must be having an asthma attack because I'm relatively new to the thought of asthma, right? I thought last time I remember my chest was hurting, blah, 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 blah. Well, I had to stop so many times walking a block and a half to get to the building. And I had to stop inside the building multiple times. And I used the inhaler and it wasn't helping. And nothing was helping and I couldn't do anything. So that was a Friday, another Friday. And then Monday happened again. And I'm like, what the heck's going on? Well, I've been having all these issues. I have been tingly. I mean, I couldn't even go to my best friend's wedding when it was his wedding because my legs were tingly. No, I've been driving and my face was tingly up to here and my arms, both arms were tingly and my whole left side was getting paralyzed. And I have herniated discs C6 and C7 and then my right foot. And I'm like, what the heck is happening? I'm supposed to be taking care of my mom. Like, how am I'm dragging my body down the hallway. I can't breathe. Well, after that Monday, on Wednesday, lo and behold, my entire body, and thankfully I was able to get a couple of people to help get my mom to therapy. So the cousin, I will not speak ill of her other than to say I do not care for her. But when there is care for my mom, or I have zero problem with like that part of it. So she came and she took my mom twice. My brother, one of my brothers came into town, and the third brother, the one that hasn't disowned me, he came into town and he stayed and took care of my mom and took her a few times. Well, when he was present is when I ended up in the emergency room. I actually went to express care because I was like, something's wrong. Like, it just won't go away. It's just with me. I'm tingly all over. My chest pressure is intense. It did not stop before there was fluctuation. This was all day long. They took did two EKGs there, sent me to the emergency room, another EKG, all kinds of stuff like back and forth. And I tell them, I know it's not anxiety. I know it's not a panic attack. I've had these before. I know it's not that. I know that it is not acid reflux. I know it's not GERD. I've had that. I know what it is. What do they give me? Prevacid and a GI cocktail. How are you feeling? Any better? Hour later. No, because it's not that. So I left feeling the same way that I went in and was able to get some doctor's appointments, and I have since had more testing. But here's the thing. I didn't want to focus on me. I was trying to help my mom. I I haven't grieved my father's passing because I don't talk about it, because I don't know who to talk to and what to say. So back to the question, who is your go-to person when you feel like your world is falling apart? In the time that my dad passed, we lost three other family members. So four in 45 days. I have four people in my family right now that have cancer. I can't do anything to help them. Couldn't help my dad. When I was little, I never dreamt about getting married and having kids in the house. I did remember now, I did think about like riding, like working, driving a tractor trailer Monday through Friday and being on my motorcycle on the weekends. I remember that. But more importantly, the one that I really, really cared about was being able to take care of my parents, because they were spending their lives taking care of me, clothing me, feeding me. Yeah, okay. So some of you were like, yeah, but they got to do that. But do they? Because some parents don't. Traveling, teaching me life lessons, like fighting for yourself when you go to the hospital. Do not just accept this or that. Like, you have to know your body and you have to be able to defend yourself. I have almost got arrested, like, for my kids, I would say with each child once, all different hospitals, but I've almost gotten arrested each time. And I didn't care, because I was not leaving until they did what they needed to do with the one. They didn't listen to me about the test of the other one when they knew she was on the medication she was on since she was born. And the other hospitals didn't listen to me either. Like, I will go out front and call the news and I will do whatever I have to do. Like, I don't care. Just be I had a doctor, and I'm going to digress for a second. I took the kids to the doctors, and I've always taught the kids they have to defend themselves, right? They have to be able to know their body, talk about what's going on, this and that. So the doctor asked, they're all in the same room, and the kids are explaining, and she's interrupting. And the kids are explaining, and she's interrupting. And I was like, yo, I don't know. I don't think you understand what's going on. You're supposed to be listening to them. Like, don't look at me. Listen to them. It's their body. You know, she said to me, she goes, wait, wait, wait. Do you see these degrees on the wall? I'm a doctor. Blah, blah, blah. And I was like, hold the phone. I don't care if you're freaking doctor. What you're not understanding is they're trying to talk to you. They're trying to tell you about themselves. I don't care how many times you had to take a test. If I studied long enough, I'm sure I could pass a test too. There's got to be more. There's got to be more. I don't know what I missed by not being in Puerto Rico with my dad. I don't know what I could have done differently for him had I been there, because like I couldn't go. Could barely walk. I just right when my dad was in ICU, I was in. Was it before? No, it was before he went into ICU, wasn't it? I couldn't even walk. I could barely make it from my bed to the bathroom, and I have a bathroom in my bedroom. Dragging my body. And we're still fighting the cancer. because radiation's over and it's taking a toll. She can't work anymore. She can't do the things that she loves to do anymore. And she physically is not strong. We didn't know it was going to be this hard. You don't know. And I've seen lots of people like go through stuff. I remember working with a lady, a beautiful lady, that had suffered from breast cancer and had to get implants before her daughter got married. I think she wasn't even a year. Her daughter was diagnosed. She's no longer here. They were beautiful people. I watched her daughter grow up. There's so many things we can't do, but I know I need help with stuff. Like I got to figure out how to help my mom because she's still here, and I want to help her the best way I can. But I can't work. I can't get in the tow truck anymore. I'm trying to figure. I got literally. I have 5 more images to do. Like I'm surprised my voice is still with me now. It's one of the reasons I couldn't go before because they found a nodule on my thyroid, and now I have to get right in here is where I have pain. Um, if I touch and it like yesterday I tried singing a song and I couldn't even make it through the whole song. I was already going hoarse and it was painful. It was painful. I get a burning feeling. But it's not supposed to be about me. And you're supposed to take care of yourself so you can take care of your loved ones. But what if everything's happening at the same freaking time? What if everything is happening at the same time? I can't even help my other relatives with their cancer. And then all I want is for when that time comes that it's her time. I want her to go like my dad did, like move on, pass on, just like he did it peacefully, not in pain, you know? And that's what I want because it's going to happen and we have to accept it and we need to be better about it. We need to be better about how this works. It's not that I'm in denial about my father passing away. We just need to be better. Everyone's always telling you to be strong. Always. Like as if it's bad to show emotion, like it's bad to cry. Whatever gender you are, don't show emotion. And people go making comments about people nowadays. Oh, there's this new generation. They're just so sensitive. No, they're probably right. Watch what you freaking say to people. You know, a lot of people, what they can dish it out, but they can't take it. And suddenly, that now it's a problem because we said something offensive to them. But in the meantime, they're just running their mouth about people all the freaking time. People have feelings. People, do you remember that whole sticks and stones, my bones thing? Like, hello, those words hurt. I'm so scared to touch my ear because I might disconnect this one. Boy, words hurt, right? And so you learn from that. But other words can be encouraging and can help you deal with stuff. So if we start teaching, even now, if we start learning that things are going to happen and it's a process, and we don't lie and say that when someone has passed away that they're just sleeping. No, I don't believe in that. I think that's insane. You need to be able to see, like for me, like the fact that I was able to talk to him and say things, I feel okay with that. But I'm not okay with the other stuff. Like I said, like not having been able to be there for him physically in person, hold his hand, hug him. That's tough stuff. That's what I wanted to share. I wanted to share that my father passed away. He proudly served this country for 21 years. 21 years. Things happened. The immediate family dissolved. A lot of us went our own way. Some of us kept talking. Some just owned Yadira. Don't care. I never did anything to any of them except for have medical issues. But still family. And now my mom going through what she's going through. I don't know who's going to step up or whatever, but I don't even know. Like right now, we're not even. There's no possibility of surgery. That I know. That I know. We're hoping that the radiation has stunted the growth, and hopefully there will be some disintegration of the tumor. I guess if that's the proper terminology, is the only thing I can think of. The different tumors, because now there's another one that was found in the process of imaging. But I think I want to put out a fundraiser for her. She is a proud woman. She's worked hard her whole life. She doesn't know what it's like to sit still or not work. And all she's ever done is take care of people. Ever since she was little, she took care of her siblings. Then she had all of us kids. And then she took on her sister's daughter, who's my cousin, that came and lived with us for a while. And then she's taking care of the grandchildren. She's even taking care of the great grandchildren, not feeling good, dealing with the cancer, still doing it. Before. Things are different now. Should have grabbed something to drink. But if you're going through a difficult time and you realize that you cannot take and handle the toll all by yourself, you need to reach out. Go to yadiramoves.live. I have like this thing you can fill out. I'll contact you back. I've been loading resources. So one of my kids helps me with that, takes care of all of it for me. And there's this section on there that's how can I help? I've been dropping resources in there for all kinds of people. And the more I find out, I'll keep dropping more. Like different small businesses in the area is one thing, but resources like nationally for people, um, anything that I can find that I know people need to know about, I'm trying to make sure that I share. So it'll just be a matter of checking back weekly to make sure that you like if you need anything or you could pass it along to someone. There's no fee for it. It's just hey, how can I help is what it says. Um, so it's still in the process of getting worked on, but I'm hoping that this conversation that I'm having with all of you, the ones that are here now with me and the ones that watch later, and I thank you so much for being with me all this time. I know it's a long live, but I really, really hope that you know this took a long time for me to be able to do. My my thoughts were, should I, shouldn't I? No, I have to because I have to let people know. Like some people knew my dad because he like went on the Girl Scout trips with us and he was great at camping. He always found ways to make sure that we went out and did stuff as a family. Him and my mom always doing stuff. Here, Germany. We went to Switzerland because I wanted to go to the Girl Scout home. So we did that. Um, went to a lot of different countries. Um, but you just, I appreciate them. I appreciate the people in my life now. And if you feel the same way about the people in your life, you should tell them that you love them every day. Every day. I know it seems like it's freaking hard, right? But tell them because it's harder if you don't and something happens. It's harder if you don't and they needed someone to talk to and they didn't think they could talk to you. Sometimes it's okay to listen, but you have to be able to respond back with something. If it's a very short amount of words, like I hear you, but I'm sorry, I don't understand the feeling. That's one thing. That's fine. Another is just reaching out and putting your arms around somebody and hugging them, just giving them that. Do not feel like you need to be strong for anybody, but for yourself. If you need to be, then that's fine. But don't worry about taking on the task. It's an additional thing that you have to be processing, is now how you have to be because of how someone else perceives you. Life is what it is. We were born into this world and we will pass on into the next life, however it is that you believe that will be. Whatever religion you are, whatever beliefs you have spiritually, it doesn't, if you don't believe in any of that, then fine, you don't believe in any of it. But know that your time here, my husband and I agreed some time ago, it was many, many years ago, like, this is hell. It's when you survive all of this that you get the reward, right? Because we have to deal with the pain and we have to deal with the suffering and we have to deal with the injustice and the craziness and things of like just so many things we can't process, right? So it's not the beautiful things don't happen here because I'm blessed to have the beautiful, intelligent, remarkable, giving children that I have because they were able to work for my mom last time and help her so that she had a little bit of money. But my mom has owned her own business for what will be 30 years. She's not going to get a retirement out of it. She's not going to get anything. She's done. She can't work anymore. But she did that. Little her with an accent who freaking cares. She has acquired so much on her own. So this is tough for her. So I got to figure out how to help her with that too. So if anybody has any ideas, thoughts, you do want to help me figure out something about getting donations in, you can DM me or you can find my number, whatever, message me and let me know. If you've been through the same stuff. I started one thing, but I haven't published it and I don't know, like it's still missing some stuff because I just didn't know what to do. But I'm trying to figure out what she can eat. It's hard. It's hard. She's dealing with so much stuff and everybody's different, right? So her body's reacting so much differently. And it's because it's on her organs, it's on major organs that it's so hard to process what she is going through. I just want to take it all away. So I want to say thank you. I think I'm gonna go now. I really appreciate you being here listening to me. I don't know if I will be grieving both parents at the same time, or if over time I will be able to somehow find it within myself to process things as they are, because I'm not in denial. It's just my brain is stirring now, trying to figure out how to do stuff when I can't do what I want to do. Um, I guess I got to figure it out. Got to figure it out. And I just want to say thank you, and I wish you all the best. And if you're just jumping on now, please go back to the beginning. I'm not one of those people that delays the beginning, but I guess maybe I should said it twice now, but maybe I should maybe end this with who was your go-to person when you feel like your world is falling apart? What if your go-to is the one that passed away or the one who's suffering? What about then? What do you do then? Can't keep it bottled up inside. Stress manifests in many different ways and it will take a toll on you. Do not keep it inside of you. Let me know if you need help with that and we'll figure out a way. Maybe we could just talk. Maybe it'll help both of us. Maybe it'll help all of us. But again, I thank you. We're literally 45 minutes. Thank you. And oh, I guess it would be important to know my father's name was Gregorio. and my mother's name is Andrea. So, for those of you who do pray, believe in that, and whatever, you could pray for both of them. Pray for my father to be at peace in his new setting, and pray for my mom to not suffer. I would appreciate it, and so would they. And thank you again. I love you. I will try to be back every day sharing stuff about all kinds of things. Oh, I have a blog now. I guess I'll drop that somewhere. And I don't know. I've never done this multiple thing the way I'm doing it now, so I'll figure that out. But I talk about a lot of different stuff in there. And that just started last month. That's been a little bit helpful. But, anyways, I'm out. Take care of yourselves. And, please, if any of this resonates with you, share it out. Maybe it can help someone else. If you need to talk, let me know. Thank you so much for tuning in with me, Yadira Moves You. Move to your flow, and back soon. Bye. I don't know how to do this. Uh-oh. This is going to be fun. I don't know how to do this. Oops. That's not working. How do I do this now? Guys, I suck at this. I really do. I'm not doing a good job of this. I ended the other one, and I'm still here trying to figure out this one. How do you freaking do this? There we go.